we go, 50 laps off turn 4. Looking for the green flag and a green light. 1 lap away. Here they come off turn number 4. Green flag out. Charging off turn number 2 down the backstretch. Race lead goes to Steve Slater Jr. James Kruger up to second. Step to third. Everybody safely down the backstretch. Now trouble in turn 3. Pete Warmcastle gets into the 10 car of Herb Johnson Sr. Around they go. Minnick spins as well. Jerry Hammond went to the dirt outside the racetrack. Off turn 4, back to green. Out of turn number 2, down the backstretch. Race leader is Steve Slater Jr. Step in the 88 on the outside, down low, 0-1 James Kruger, 1 lap in. Race leader, Steve Slater. Slater with the lead, Kruger second, Johnson third. Slow down the front stretch, trouble for the 65 of Mike Miller. Mike Miller dropping out in car number 65. It's Steve Slater Jr., James Kruger, and Herb Johnson Jr., the top 3. Herb Johnson Jr. second in car number 20. Ben Kruger, the 0-1, the 88 of Travis Stepp. Todd Griggs made a good early start. He's 5th place in car number 2. Don Skaggs in 09, then Herb Johnson Sr. Fast qualifier Scott Coe starting to rumble a little bit around the outside. Gets around the 72 of Mays. Works the 70 of Wallen. Slater still with the race lead. Russ Miller up on the outside line as well. Terry Fisher Jr. on the charge in car number 8. Miller, Johnson, Kruger, then Stepp. Jan Long heading for the pits in car number 16. 2 by 2 from the 4 of Blair and the 19 Miller on back. That's bottling up the faster qualifiers. Fisher in 8. Minnick 37, Wallen 70, Coe in 28, all bottled up back in the pack. Still your leader is Steve Slater Jr. Todd Griggs 5th in car number 2, then the 09 of Don Skaggs, a 9 of Pete Warmcastle. Herb Johnson Sr. in 10, close quarters on those cars off of 4. Steve Blair a little out of shape in the Jim White 4. Slows up the 8 of Terry Fisher Jr. Around the outside comes 37 Steve Minnick and the 28 of Scott Coe. Warmcastle on the move in car 9 down through turns 3 and 4. Works the inside of Don Skaggs. Travis Stepp tries to take third away. Stepp in the 88 racing with the 0-1 of James Kruger. Kruger able to hang on. Pete Warmcastle suddenly shooting up through the field. Around the 09 of Skaggs, now around the 2 car of Griggs. Give Pete Warmcastle 5th place. Steve Minnick Jr. in 37, Scott Coe in 28, break free of some of the traffic. Ralph Baxter heading for the pits in car 80. Jeremy Wallen in 70 gets bottled up. Still the leader is Slater over Johnson Jr. Mid-pack, watch that flying 37 of Steve Minnick Jr. and the 28 of Scott Coe. Terry Fisher in the 8 has thoughts of 3 wide out of turn number 2. Down the backstretch. Wallen around the outside of Baer. Now Skaggs free-falling back through the field in car number 09. Pete Warmcastle continues to charge up to 4th. Warmcastle 4th and coming after the 88 of Travis Stepp. Down the backstretch, Scott Coe moving around to 37 of Steve Minnick Jr. brings Jeremy Wallen with him. Wallen back on the charge. Scott Coe up inside the top 10, trouble off turn number 4. That'll be the 89 of John Gatton Jr. Or Jonathan Gatton make that, spins around in 89. Now trouble behind him, everybody on the brakes. Griggs in 2, 10 of Johnson get together. Jeremy Wallen and Scott Coe slide into it. All of that well after the caution. Looked to be light contact on everybody behind that. Hopefully all the cars okay. "13 laps in, we go double final restart. 37 laps to go, and the Fast Boys now halfway up through the field. Slater in 15. He's led all the way so far. 20 is Johnson Jr. 88 Stepp. 9 of Warmcastle's been the man charging up through the field. 01 Kruger. 2 Griggs. 10 Johnson Sr. 19 Russ Miller. 09 Don Skaggs. 28 fast qualifier Scott Coe. 37 Steve Minnick. 70 Jeremy Wallen. We're back to green. Look out to turn number 1 and 2. Trouble. Steve Slater Jr. goes around. Caution out. Johnson in the 20 and Slater in the 15 got together. Both cars went bouncing off the top of the racetrack. Johnson Jr. out into the Toolies around where Rusty Wallace came to a stop. Yellow flag out. Trying to remember how long a feature this was. Here they come through turn 3 and 4. Green flag back in the air. Out of turn 2 and down the backstretch. Charging around the outside looking for the lead is Pete Warmcastle. Warmcastle able to clear Stepp into turn 3. Stepp comes back on the inside. Warmcastle off turn 4 with the lead. Give the lead over to Pete Warmcastle. Travis Stepp to second, then side by side behind them. Look at the fast guys all lined up nose to tail, the fast qualifiers. Coe the 28. 70 of Wallen, 8 of Fisher, 37 of Minnick. Don Skaggs off the pace now in car 09. Now the chess game for the fast qualifiers. Which lane do we get in? Right now all on the inside. Coe to the inside of Miller. Just ahead of him, the 10 of Herb Johnson Sr., who gets into the 01 of Kruger. Around they go. Somehow only 2 cars in that one. Johnson into Kruger. Around they go. Wallen spins to miss it. Yellow flag back out. Pete Warmcastle in 9. 88 Travis Stepp. 2 is Todd Griggs. 19 Russ Miller. 28 Scott Coe. 70 Jeremy Wallen. 8 Terry Fisher Jr. 37 Steve Minnick Jr. The faster qualifiers are now in the 3rd and 4th row as the cars around them keep going to the tail. Green flag back out. This time the outside lane's the one on the move, and Jeremy Wallen quickly up to 4th. Down the backstretch for the race lead. On the outside, Travis Stepp tries to stay with the 9 of Pete Warmcastle. Russ Miller sitting back in 3rd, then Wallen. Steve Minnick Jr. around Todd Griggs comes to 5th place. Now Scott Coe rolls around the outside of the 2 as well. Warmcastle the lead, Miller to 2nd. Warmcastle the leader. Russ Miller up to 2nd, by far his best night of the year. Wallen 3rd, Travis Stepp 4th, Minnick in 5th, Coe in 6th. Mike Mays trying to rumble around mid-pack, works on the 2 of Todd Griggs, trying to put him down a spot. Diving to the inside goes Jeremy Wallen for second. Wormcastle the lead. Wallen to the inside, down the back straightaway. Racing hard with Russ Miller into turn 3 and 4. Comes Jeremy Wallen in car number 70. Give Wallen second at the stripe. Russ Miller back to 1 and 2. Drives hard back around the outside. Briefly retakes the spot. Travis Stepp a very strong 4th. Then Minnick in 37. Coe in 28. Fisher in 8. And Mays in 72. Pete Wormcastle, Jeremy Wallen. Problem for Terry Fisher Jr. TJ Fisher might have a tire problem on the 8 car out of turn number 4, slowing, heading for the pit area. TJ Fisher in one of the Coe Motorsport cars limping back to the pit. Still Wormcastle with the lead over Wallen. Pete Wormcastle, Jeremy Wallen coming out of turn 3 and 4, looking at the cross flags, halfway through the Gold Cup modified feature. Halfway through. Steve Minnick Jr. still second place, side by side back at 4th. Make that 3rd for Minnick, side by side at 5th. The 28 of Coe, the 19 of Russ Miller. Back to turn 1 and 2. Mike Mays in 72, racing with the 88 of Travis Stepp, picks up a spot. Wormcastle, Wallen, 1st and 2nd, well ahead of the field. Steve Minnick Jr. comes up to 3rd place. Scott Coe 4th, Russ Miller 5th, then Mike Mays and Travis Stepp. Wallen up to the rear bumper of race leader Pete Wormcastle. Mike Mays was pretty silent early on, but now on the charge. And Mays, the defending Gold Cup winner, comes to 5th place. Gonna need a caution perhaps to have a chance to get up front. Wormcastle and Wallen running strong for the lead. Wormcastle back to 1 and 2. Holds his ground. Wallen gives him a couple of taps, reminds him he's back here. Battle on for 3rd place. Steve Minnick Jr. in 37, 28 Scott Coe. Both closing on the race leader. Wallen took a look to the outside to turn 1. Nothing there. Lost ground. Taking you back to the field, the 9 of Pete Wormcastle, the leader. Jeremy Wallen 2nd in car 70. 3rd to 37 of Steve Minnick Jr. 4th to 28 of Scott Coe. 5th place, 72 Mike Mays. In 6th, 19 Russ Miller. 7th is 88 Travis Stepp. 8th to 2 of Todd Griggs. 9th place, showing a little sparks from the brakes on the 15 of Steve Slater Jr. And 10th is 7 Jerry Hammond. 11th, 01 James Kruger. In 12th, 112 Jack Moore. Now losing that spot. Make 12th, the 89 of Jonathan Gatton. Jack Moore 13th in car 112. Good pass by young Jonathan Gatton. Still with the race lead is the 9 of Pete Wormcastle. Travis Stepp down the front stretch, tries to take a spot away from Russ Miller. Back to 3 and 4. Wallen continues to stalk the race leader, the 9 of Warmcastle, trying to make him make a mistake. Minnick and Co. in 37 and 28 continue to close on the leaders. Travis Stepp does pick up 6th around Russ Miller. Warmcastle suddenly able to put a couple of car lengths on the 70 of Wallen. 15 to go, and Warmcastle has picked up the pace. Scott Coe sending a message to Steve Minnick Jr., giving him a shot in the middle of the corners, saying, "Let me go, I'm faster." Coe tries to roll around the outside of Minnick for 3rd. Minnick shuts the door once again. Minnick and Coe are both closing on the race leaders. Coe clearly quicker, gets into the back of Minnick, and around he goes. Steve Minnick Jr. off a bump in the middle of the corner, goes around, yellow flag out. $14 laps to go for $1,000. Pete Warmcastle, Jeremy Wallen, Steve Minnick Jr., Mike Mays now back into the mix. Off turn 4, Scott Stovall's green flag, we're back underway. Side by side out of 2. Can Wallen come around the outside? No, he can't. Warmcastle leads. Minnick 3rd, Mays 4th, Travis Stepp, Russ Miller now back into the mix. See if Scott Coe can work his way back up. Jonathan Gatton on the charge in car 89. Jonathan Gatton, first ever race in the half mile, and he takes it right up inside the top 10. Warmcastle gets away from Wallen, and now Gatton almost spins out of turn 2. Recovers but loses everything he just picked up. Jeremy Wallen sits a car length back of the 9 of Pete Warmcastle. Then another car length and a half back to 37 Minnick. 2 more back to Mays. Travis Stepp and Kenny Whiteman's 88 car having a strong top 5 run. Goes shooting up the hill through 1 and 2. Scott Coe on the charge back up. Now Coe back to 8th place. 10 to go off turn number 4 for Pete Warmcastle. Jeremy Wallen again tries to make a move up on Warmcastle for the race lead. Minnick back in 3rd, Mays in 4th, Travis Stepp 5th. Todd Griggs back into the fight. He drives around. Russ Miller picks up 6th place. Todd Griggs making his first Fairfield appearance in over 5 years, sits 6th. And here comes Scott Coe back on the charge. Wallen with a big run down the backstretch. Look to the outside on Warmcastle, nothing there. Scott Coe not totally out of this, back into 7th place. Couple of cautions, couple of restarts, be right back in the mix. Now Wallen goes shooting up the hill in turn 3, and Minnick couldn't take advantage. Fight for the lead, also fight for 5th place. Travis Stepp holding on to 5th in car 88, 2 of Griggs, 28 of Coe, all over the back of the 88 car. Oh, Todd Griggs into the corner, gets into the side of Travis Stepp, lets him get away with it. Griggs got into Stepp, but got out of the throttle and let him save it. Griggs picks up a spot. Here comes Coe looking to pick up both spots. Warmcastle still the lead, laps winding down. Wallen with 1 or 2 more runs he can make with 5 to go. But Todd Griggs back into 5th place, Scott Coe 6th. Warmcastle too strong coming off the corner so far. Wallen closing in once again, but Warmcastle from the center out pulls away by a car length. Now make it 2. Scott Coe shoots around Todd Griggs back into the top 5. Warmcastle, Wallen, and Minnick the top 3 down the backstretch to turn 3 and 4. May still sits 4th, Coe 5th. Pete Warmcastle again pulls away from Jeremy Wallen. Warmcastle, Wallen, and Minnick still the top three. Pete Warmcastle qualified in fifth quick tonight. He's one lap away from the Gold Cup. Back to turn 1 and 2. Your 3, 4, and 5 qualifiers out of turn number 2 and down to backstretch. In fact, the top 5 are exactly reversed to how they qualified. Off turn number 4, hands up, give the Gold Cup to Pete Warmcastle. Warmcastle wins the Gold Cup. Wallen second, Minnick third. Mays fourth, Scott Coe rebounds up to fifth. Then it's Griggs, Stepp, Miller, Kruger, Slater, Hammond, Gatton, and Moore. Fifth place to Scott Coe in car 28. Fourth to the 70. Make that fourth to 72 of Mike Mays. Third to 37 of Steve Minnick Jr. Scratch that. Scott Coe fifth, Mike Mays fourth. Third to Minnick. Then Jeremy Wallen second. And picking up the win, going to be the 9 of Pete Warmcastle. We'll go talk to the winners. Victory Lane presentations, and then we'll have the Mad Bomber fireworks.